Hello, everyone. How you doing? Welcome to the review of the Florida Panthers absolutely spanking the Ottawa Senators last night, 6-0. And the first three goals of the night were Cousins, Kulikov, and Lundell. That is not a typo. And then, you got Bennett, Reinhardt, and Kachuk scoring as well. Korpisalo, who was lovingly referred to by an Ottawa Senators fan on the chat last night as Forbisalo. He gave up 4 goals and then was eventually replaced with Forsberg. Hello, Bucks Rays Bolts. Hello, Jackson, Nick, Trey. Nick says there's nothing better than pancakes and a hot cup of coffee after a Panthers shutout. Yeah, Bob was incredible last night. Now, of course, we've got good news. We absolutely destroyed the ever-loving hell out of an opponent that we should destroy. Now, it was the Senators. I doubt we're going to be doing the same thing against Boston. iDog says Kulikov finally scored. Hell has frozen over. Oh. So, I would like to take this opportunity to tell everyone that the Eastern Conference playoff race is on drugs. So, let us take a look at the current standings. Boston still has first place in the Atlantic with 105 points. And Florida is at 101 points, which means Boston and Florida's matchup tomorrow is going to be the difference between either a dogfight for the Atlantic or Boston basically running away with it. Because if Florida wins, they'll be only 2 points behind the Bruins with 4 games left, and the Panthers have the tiebreaker against Boston. But if Boston wins, they'll be 6 points ahead of the Panthers, and at that point, it's pretty much all but guaranteed that Boston will win the Atlantic. The Maple Leafs are at 95 points, currently holding on for dear life to third place in the Atlantic. Right behind them is the Tampa Bay Lightning, currently holders of the first wild card spot and have practically clinched that spot for now. The Tampa Bay Lightning are at 93 points, but they are only 2 points behind the Maple Leafs and have tiebreaker over the Leafs. So the Lightning could very easily take third place in the Atlantic away from Toronto, and that would drastically change the playoff bracket. Whereas Fluffy, he's around here somewhere, probably behind the couch or outside. Metallic Coaster's having a laugh at Ottawa's expense for letting Kulikov score on you. Do we keep Cousins on the second line? And where do we put Tarasenko and Verhaeghe if we do? Tarasenko has been pretty damn good on the first line, I believe. You have Tarasenko, Reinhardt, Barkov, Cousins, Bennett, Kachuk, And then you make your third line Lundell, Luosterainen, and Verhaeghe. That's my personal take. Of course, I'm just going by the results of a game we just played against the Sens. I don't know how those lines have worked out in the other games, and we're about to play Boston tomorrow. So, in the Metro Division, the Rangers are at 106 points and are currently by 1 point the leaders for President's Trophy. The Hurricanes are at 101 points. And right now, third place in the Metro, in spite of a 5-game losing streak, the Flyers still have third place in the Metro. So, the first wild card, like I said, belongs to Tampa Bay. But it's that second wild card that no one seems to want. Right now, get this, the New York Islanders have the second wild card. You did not mishear me. The Islanders have a playoff spot. At 83 points and 25 regulation wins. But their throne is a precarious one, as both the Capitals and Red Wings both have 82 points and more regulation wins at the moment than the Isles. And the Penguins are only 2 points out of a playoff spot at 81 points. And they actually, for the moment, have more regulation wins than anyone in the 8th, 9th, or 10th seed. It's gonna be ridiculous. So, Metallic Coasters, imagine fighting for your lives to get into a spot and you get met with the Rangers as your reward. Jaws will join us at about 12:30. Tampa plays Pittsburgh tomorrow. That's going to be a crucial game. I'll have to tune into that game during the intermissions of Boston and Florida. Unfortunately, I think if Tampa plays Pittsburgh, that must be one of the later games, and the Panthers have an afternoon game tomorrow. Trey says Verhaeghe is banged up in the third line, really needs a scorer, so you might be right about him going there when the playoffs start. That sounds good to me, Metallic Coaster. I love those lines you propose. Yeah, the Islanders have a minus 25 goal differential, and the Capitals minus 38 goal differential, and both are still in playoff contention. The Metro is such flaming wreckage outside of the Rangers and Hurricanes. Wow, Tampa and Pittsburgh are at 1 o'clock tomorrow. Wow. No, Trey, the Marlins have not won yet. In fact, they are the only team in the entire MLB without a win so far this season. So, it's hilarious. The Flyers have a minus 17 goal differential, or on the 5-game losing streak, and they're in third place in the Metro. The Isles have the minus 25 goal differential and are in the second wild card spot. And the Capitals are at minus 38 goal differential and have lost 4 in a row and are only 1 point out of a playoff spot. Who wants to play the Rangers? Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if you heard about this. The Burger King in Miami, they offered a free Whopper Junior with every home win for the Marlins. So no one rules. You know, BK says you rule. No one is ruling. No one is ruling. The kids are going hungry. It's the Detroit Pistons pit stop wings all over again. That's funny. iDog says, I want the Penguins to make it just so we get more urinating tree content. Yeah, he'd probably make a whole video about how the hell did this team make the playoffs. So I'm surprised. There's already been 6 teams eliminated in the Western Conference. Sharks, Blackhawks, Ducks, Coyotes, Flames, Kraken. But in the Eastern Conference, the wild card race is so ludicrous that the only 2 teams that are entirely out mathematically are the Blue Jackets and Canadiens. The Sens are somehow still alive at 70 points. I'm sure some of those teams have to be eliminated tonight, right? Coop, I think we already tried that, Coop. Putting Reinhardt on the third line and Verhaeghe on the first.
Well, I mean, with Verhaeghe hurt right now, it doesn't matter anyway. But everybody's going to end up playing with everybody. You know what I mean? Because guys are going to be in and out of the lineup hurt. But if everybody's healthy, you either have to have. If everybody's healthy, if you're going to have Cousins on the second line, Rodriguez has to go to the fourth.
Well, my proposal was Tarasenko, Barkov, Reinhardt,
right.
Cousins, Bennett, Tkachuk.
Yeah, you forgot Verhaeghe. See, we ran out of spots.
Yeah.
We ran out of. I did the same thing in the recap last night.
Yeah.
I got to the third line. I'm like, well, shit. There's no room for Cousins on that second line now.
Bobrovsky's claiming I never read his messages. Sorry, Bob. Hey, Bob, you were excellent last night. I get to see a finch right outside the window. It's either a house finch or a purple finch. I can't quite tell from here. It's pretty. So, Oli says, hey, Kyle and Jaws, it's my birthday today, and nothing's better than waking up on my birthday with a Cats win. Happy birthday, Oli. Colin thinks 2021 Lightning equals this year's Panthers. Metallicoaster says the Sens can actually get eliminated today if Detroit gets a point or Philly wins plus a point for Washington. The Oilers, Lightning, and Leafs can clinch a spot. Where are you seeing these playoff clinching scenarios? I've been searching for basically playoff scenarios. Is there a website for that? NHL playoff scenarios. Let's see. So, let's see. I can't make sense of this playoff magic NHL website. It's like a foreign language. Yeah. Kazuma, you're a little confused on the playoffs. At the moment, we are most likely to face the Toronto Maple Leafs, but it's also possible that we end up playing the Lightning. Here's how it goes. Right now, the Panthers are in second place in the Atlantic. The second place Atlantic team plays the third place Atlantic team. Tomorrow's contest against the Bruins is basically going to determine whether the Atlantic Division crown is going to be a dogfight or if Boston runs away with it.
I hope we don't show up and lose. Hey, I have a question for you.
Uh-huh.
And I don't want to forget. If it's Panthers Leafs and then Boston Lightning, I'm assuming we're both rooting for the Lightning.
But it does not compute.
Okay, well, you have to decide, because if we're both going to root for the Lightning, we need another thunder stick from somebody. Because we only have the one. Unless we put, I'll be happy to troll you like I did last year.
I mean, how about the Leafs choke the third place in the Atlantic, and we play the Lightning instead in round one?
Not interested.
We get another Boston and Leafs series.
We don't want that. We want let Boston and Tampa play each other. Boston and Tampa are the two harder matchups for us, so I'd rather play either or instead of both.
Notice how that's turned around. First, it was you didn't want to play.
No, I said I didn't want. I've always said I don't want to play Boston in the first round.
Uh-huh.
At no point have I wanted to play the Lightning because of Vasilevsky.
Yeah.
So I'd rather play Toronto and then either Tampa or Boston than play the Lightning and then either Boston or Toronto. You see what I'm saying? Because if Vasilevsky's going to let Boston deal with him.
Sunswine says, this win doesn't mean anything if we show up to Boston cold. This win against the Sens should be a warm-up.
No, we need to show up. I don't even want to show up
to
Boston.
Hello, Raven.
Don't even show up to the arena.
Hello, Raven. iDog says, I'm more scared of the Canes than Boston, Tampa, or Toronto. Same, buddy. Same.
Well, yeah, but we're not going to be playing them until the end if we get that far. I'm going to get your food, Bubby. Okay? Homer says, hey, man, Wings fan here. Boston and Panthers come next on my list.
Just wanted to say howdy, and with Detroit being goofballs, I'm happy to see Panthers in Boston again.
Yeah, Detroit kind of screwed it up. They still got a chance, though.
Yeah, we might end up with Tampa. Let's see. Let's take a look at the Leafs and Lightning schedule. Both have let's see. Give me a second. All right. So Toronto's schedule. Now this is the weirdest thing. Okay, tomorrow they play at Montreal. This is Toronto I'm talking about. They're playing at Montreal, then they're playing at home versus Pittsburgh. Then on April 9th, they are playing at New Jersey. And then the very next game is a home game against New Jersey. Then they play Detroit. Then they play Florida. And they play Tampa Bay. So, except for the Canadiens, all of those games are against either playoff teams or teams that still have a chance of making the playoffs. The Lightning schedule, they play at Pittsburgh tomorrow. They play at home versus Columbus and then versus Ottawa. Then they are at Washington. Then they're versus Buffalo and versus Toronto. So I think the Lightning have a slightly easier schedule than the Leafs in this home stretch. Yes, Raven. The Bruins play the Panthers tomorrow at I think at 4:30. Sunswine thinks Freddie is gonna get injured for the Canes. That's my take. I hope not. I mean, that's the goalie who already had to deal with blood clots this year, right? I don't want any more misfortune heaped upon Freddie Anderson. 3:30, huh? Yeah, Homer, how did you feel about that Detroit versus Florida game? That must have been kind of brutal, as if you're a Red Wings fan. Yeah. Yeah, tomorrow I'll definitely be keeping a close eye on the outcome of Tampa and Tampa and Toronto play each other tomorrow, I believe.
I think it's tomorrow night after our game.
Someone said it's at 1:00.
Oh, well, there was a game I thought. Either way.
Yeah, no, excuse me. Tampa Bay plays Pittsburgh at 1:00.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the 1:00 game is Tampa Bay Pittsburgh. Toronto plays the Canadiens at 7.
I just got a couple more things to do, and then I'll go upstairs and relieve you.
Okay. Yeah, well, we can be together for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Oli says a Lightning versus Panthers playoff series would be more entertaining than Maple Leafs versus Panthers, in my honest opinion. Yeah, it could be entertaining. It could also be bad for your mental and physical health. It's entirely possible that we still play the Lightning after the first round. We don't have to make our very first opponent in the playoffs the one that has broken our hearts repeatedly. Let's see. If Tampa wins and the Leafs lose tomorrow, yeah, that number 3 seed in the Atlantic would be up for the third place in the Atlantic would be up for grabs. And that would just invite all sorts of chaos. Because here's the deal. If Leafs lose and Lightning win, then that means the Lightning would be third place in the Atlantic as of that moment. And so that would mean the second seed in the Atlantic, us, Panthers, would have to decide pretty quickly, maybe even at the same time as that's happening, if we are good with second place in the Atlantic and facing off against either the Leafs or Lightning, or if we want to usurp first place in the Atlantic and face off against, say, what do you know? It would be either the Lightning or the Leafs. It's kind of a fool's errand to try and pick who you want, because honestly, almost every single year, your opponent, first round opponent in the playoff, and your playoff path are out of your control. So, I mean, right now, no one wants that second wild card spot. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams, all within 2 points of each other, who absolutely refuse to take either third place in the Metro or the last wild card spot. And now you have the Lightning within 2 points of taking third place in the Atlantic away from the Leafs because they have the tiebreaker. And you have the Panthers and Bruins potentially, if the Panthers win in regulation against Boston tomorrow, then that means the Panthers will be only 2 points behind the Bruins for first place in the Atlantic, and the Panthers have the tiebreaker against Boston.
Kyle, put your headphones on.
Buckle up. It's going to be a ride here in the Eastern Conference. The Western Conference has been hang on, let me plug in the headphones.
There we go.
The Western Conference has been pretty much settled for 2 weeks now.
Yeah, there's not a lot going on over there. I stopped looking.
The second.
Funny night, JC. I don't know. It's a yard sale shirt. It's that soft, comfy cotton. So we're getting ready to go to the gym. So I've reached the I reached the age where instead of the tight muscle shirts, I wear the loose baggy t-shirts. Maybe we'll get back to the tight muscle shirts at some point. But how you doing, Kyle? What do we got?
Well, we're all talking about how there's 5 teams within 2 points of each other in the wild card and third place Metro spot race.
Right,
Like,
right.
no one wants to play the Rangers.
I
And
agree with that.
and apparently people are struggling to determine whether they want to play the Hurricanes or not.
Well, I'd probably rather play the Rangers only because for the same reason that I'd rather not play Boston. It's just the simple fact of the Canes have a serious axe to grind with us, and the Rangers do not.
Well,
You know what I mean?
yeah. Now, we've also been talking about how the Lightning are just 2 points away from taking third place in the Atlantic because
Let
they
me look.
have the regulation wins tiebreaker over the Leafs.
Let me see what we got here.
And if Florida beats Boston in regulation tomorrow, we will only be 2 points behind them.
I don't
with the tiebreaker for first place in the Atlantic.
I don't see the benefit in us busting our ass to overtake first place. I'm looking at the Maple Leafs have a 2-point lead and a game in hand. I would feel pretty good right now if I'm a Leaf fan about finishing in third, and the Lightning probably not overtaking them. They're going to have it in their hands anyway because the last game of the year for us is Toronto, and then the next night they play Tampa.
Yeah.
So, and look, I mean, Tampa, you don't know. Tampa might want to play Boston. They might want to play us, right?
Yeah.
But Bucks Ray says, you want a Boston win tomorrow? Oh, that's okay. Yeah, I want Boston to win too. No, I do. If Boston wins, first place is done, and that will give Maurice that much of a more of excuse to start sitting guys and just let Sam Miskevich play, let Sordiff play, let Mahura and Balinskis and Barnfoot play. So I have no interest in chasing down Boston at this point. What's the advantage? If, like I said last night in the recap, our reward for chasing down Boston is to play a hot Andre Vasilevsky. Why would we do that to ourselves? I'd rather take my chances with Toronto than Tampa. They know how to win a cup. You know what I mean? So that's my 2 cents anyway. So. All right, Kit, do you need to go get ready, or are you good to go?
I think I should probably go get myself ready.
Okay.
Just take the extra time.
Make sure you get your water and everything like that. So yeah,
all right.
I'll be done here in 20 minutes or so, and then we'll head out to the gym.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Say goodbye. You guys later. Bye.
Okay. All right. So Buck says either way we face Tampa as I agree with that. I agree. I mean, either way we would eventually face Tampa, but I'd rather play Tampa or Boston than Tampa and Boston. I guess that's the way I've been putting it, right? Sybil says the scheduling has to be intentional, right? We play our own division a lot. Yeah, they do that in football a lot too. In football for years, most of the time, the last at least 2, if not the last 3 games of the year are intra-division. They say that they don't put things specifically together like that on purpose, but it just happened to end up that Toronto's last 2 games were against Florida and Tampa, right? So, I just don't want I don't want anybody misconstruing it that I'm saying I want Toronto. It's not like that. But look, hey, there's no cakewalk in the East, right? There's no cakewalk in the East. I mean, you look at, a team like Toronto. If they want to win, they've got to beat Florida, either Boston or Tampa, and then either the Rangers or the Canes, most likely. There's no easy road, with the exception of, if you're the Rangers or the Canes, you're likely to get a weaker team in the first round. So there's no joke about that. Tyler says, if Toronto can beat them, why can't we? Oh, you're talking about Toronto? Oh, you're talking about, well, this is a different team. Toronto's better right now, and the Lightning are a lot better than they were last year. This Tampa team, do not mistake them for being the same kind of team that they were last year, where they had kind of gotten worn out from all of the long playoff runs. They only had the one round last year, and then they took the rest of the summer. And don't forget Vasilevsky. There's pros and cons there. Yeah, he was out and he had the back surgery and all of that. But as he's recovered, if he was recovered fully for the most part, now you're talking about playing a Vasilevsky who has not been burned out for a full season, right? Most of the time, by the time he gets to the playoffs, Vasilevsky's played 50, almost 55 games, where now he's probably going to be in peak condition during the playoffs. So don't take Tampa as anything light. They're not, this is not the Penguins or the Capitals or the Islanders with an old core trying to make it happen. Tampa could win. There's not a doubt in my mind that Tampa could win. Jameson says the NHL schedule makers must have had Toronto missing the playoffs. They wanted the Leafs to finish in Florida so they could go straight to the golf course. Oh, I don't need that on anymore. That's funny. Yeah. It's weird how it all works out, right? But Toronto's going to be able to, they're going to have their hands full. Everybody's going to have their hands full, with the exception of the Rangers in the first round. They're going to either get, right now the Rangers could be getting the Flyers, Islanders, Capitals. Look at the Penguins. The Penguins are right there, right? What's incredible to look at, and I'll come back to the chat in a second, you've got the Flyers in third place with a negative 17 goal differential. The Islanders in fourth place with a negative 25 goal differential. The Capitals in fifth place with a negative 38 goal differential. And then the Penguins are below everybody, and they've actually got a positive 4. So, Rangers are going to have a little bit of an easier time. You think the Rangers could choke like Boston did last year? I don't know. Boston took us a little bit lightly, right? Boston was not expecting us to play as well as we did. And I think that, well, I take that back. I was going to say you would think that other teams would recognize that and maybe wouldn't let themselves get surprised in the first round. But look at Tampa when they won the President's Trophy. They got surprised in the first round. And there's usually always that one team that, had a hell of a season and then kind of yaks it up in the playoffs. If I had to pick anybody in the East that could be a tough matchup, if the Canes end up playing the Flyers, the Flyers could I don't know. They could upset them. We'll see. Exactly. Dennis says Rangers can stroll right into the second round if they take any team they face seriously. Yeah. Especially if they end up playing the Washington or the Islanders or anything like that. I'm kind of disappointed. I wanted to see the Flyers continue to do well. They might still make it. But for a little while, it looked like the Canes Flyers series was almost a given. But what's Philadelphia lost now? Did they finally win? No, they've lost 5 in a row, right? And so it's funny that 8th seed. What do they got? 6 games left. I mean, the 8th seed is certainly not going to have like 96 points like we did that one year and missed out. That's crazy. When you just look at the streaks, the Flyers have lost 5, the Islanders have won 3, the Capitals have lost 4 in a row, but they're still technically the team that would have the best chance at that seed because they have a game in hand, right? And then the Devils yacked it up. They got themselves into a position where they had a chance, and then they yacked it up. So it is what it is. Sunshine, you think the Rangers had a wake-up call last year from the Devils. You usually don't get teams that are going to choke up 2 years in a row, which is why I haven't wanted to play Boston. I wouldn't call what Tampa did last year a choke, but if you look at it another way in terms of my preference to play Toronto, both Boston and Tampa were eliminated in the first round last year. So they are going to be extraordinarily hungry in this year's first round. So let them play each other. And then, a gentleman's handshake between the Panthers and Leafs. It's just, we'll play each other. Let Boston and Tampa go kill each other, man. That's going to be a brutal series. Plus, I want to watch that series, right? Panthers, Leafs on Tuesday night, and then Wednesday night is Bruins Lightning. I want to watch that series. That's another reason why. I think that would be more entertaining than Bruins Leafs, to be honest. iDog says Tampa losing Toronto last year ruined the best meme in hockey. Yep. Yeah, Boston wants no Boston wants Tampa, no Panthers wants Leafs, no Tampa wants Panthers. I think I'm not sure I've talked to Tech Scott today. I think I know what you're saying. Yeah, Meadow, could Tampa upset Boston if they play? Sure. Just start that game in Game 7. That series in Game 7. That series is going to go in 7 because Tampa's not playing around. But I would not. I've said this from the preseason on. I would not want to try to be the team that's going to eliminate Boston in the second round for 2 years straight. I would not want to be that team. Plus, the thing with Boston, they got 2 goaltenders. We kind of do as well, but Olmark and Swayman have proven they can do well in the playoffs. We don't know exactly what Stolarz is going to bring, right? Dennis says Toronto is fragile. Any sign of adversity and they will fold. I mean, I don't want to. I mean that's fine. I understand that they have that reputation. They're going to give us a tough time, right? They're not going to come in here and just lay down. And one thing that is a little bit of a concern for me is we play Boston Saturday, and that's it. Then we've got the last 4 games at home, and then if we finish in second place, we're going to have home ice. So, sometimes our players have a tendency to get a little bit too comfortable being at home, right? And so we will have been home for a little while when that first run of the playoffs start. So I'm sure Toronto would be coming in here feeling confident that they could get a split. I mean, hell, they split last year. That's the game they won. They won Game 4 in Florida, right? So they know they can beat us in Florida. And if they leave Florida with a split, they're going to feel confident. So, but the good news is that the days of 96 points and missing the playoffs are over for quite some time now, right? Yeah, Tampa can eliminate anyone if Cooch and Vasi get hot, especially Vasilevsky. Yep. Yeah, they're no joke, man. Dennis says, ain't saying it's going to be easy, but Tampa would be a nightmare for us. I agree. I agree. I mean, the Panthers could easily end up in 3 7-game series, right? That's the other thing. We kind of, Boston was 7 games, right? But it's highly unusual for a playoff team to, win 8 of the last 9. We beat Toronto in 5. We beat the Canes in 4. That does give me confidence in terms of, they weren't even close to beating us in a 7-game series, even though the series, the games were close. You know what I mean? But I'm just ready. Everybody's just ready. Ollie says, Charles, I don't think we're going to play some of our best players during the 4-game homestand. Ottawa, Buffalo, Columbus, and Toronto. Only one of those teams are good. Yeah. I just want them to get enough points. Just keep second place. We don't need the embarrassment of losing second place right there at the end of the season, which is why I was happy to see last night go the way it went. Right. So we need to get points in some of these games, but if Tkachuk wants to get sick again, if Barkov, take as many of those guys off the ice as we can. I don't know about you, but I was watching, once we had like a 3-0 lead last night, I'm kind of, the only thing I'm watching during the games is just like, please don't get hurt. Please don't get hurt. Vincent says, why do you engage in mental gymnastics with this team? Home away, they're either a team of pros or not. Bottom line, we do have doubts. Well, because they're the best road team in the NHL and they play better on the road, right? And, usually when we get too long of a homestand, we have not played extraordinarily well this year at home, so that's why, because it's true. Braga says, what I see is we've lost the ability to move the puck out of the D zone. We haven't lost the ability. We've lost the willingness. The forwards we're not playing the system the way it's designed to be played. So it kind of it's going to look messy. When the way the system is designed is when the defenseman pinches, the forward comes back and covers for him. And right now we're just kind of out there skating around playing hockey. And if we win, we win. So I'm confident that they'll get it right. I'm confident they'll get it right. Yeah, now the penalties, Praga, that's a good point. It says way too many penalties. Thank God our PK is great. But really, does anyone think that will hold against the playoff teams? One thing for sure is Rodriguez needs to stop sending the puck over the glass. That's for damn sure. The penalties, it's weird because they've a lot of them have been ticky-tacky, We saw those 2 nights in a row with that guy, with the Mooney, right? A lot of those penalties were ticky-tack. Right now, I actually don't mind it. I know Maurice was joking about, hey, we wanted more PK time, and the league has, granted us that. I don't mind them getting the extra work on the PK, especially since we've got guys out and we've got new guys in the lineup a little bit. So I suspect it's going to be the same thing as last year. Hey, thank you, Pepper. Thank you, Pepper. Much appreciated. Says, I'm with you. No Tampa. Can you explain who needs to be who in order to avoid that? Sorry about the dog. Yeah, I appreciate that, Pepper. Thank you. In order to avoid Tampa, basically, the Panthers need to continue to keep second place, right? And then I think Toronto plays the Lightning one more time. Yeah. The final 2 games of the season, the Maple Leafs play the Panthers, and then the Maple Leafs play the Lightning. So we need to have the Maple Leafs beat the Lightning in that last game, and then maybe we give them only 1 point against us. That's mainly it. There's I don't think Tampa's going to catch them. I have a feeling that they're not going to catch them. That's another question, though, for any Lightning fans here. We always talk about it from the Panthers' point of view. But if you're a Lightning fan right now, do you want the Lightning to pass Toronto so you can get Florida, or are you content where you are playing Boston? That's a genuine question. I'm curious from your guys' point of view who you guys would rather play. Frank says we're going to get our ass kicked in the playoffs, not because of energy or execution. Oh, because of execution? No, I don't think we're going to get our ass kicked, Frank. That's okay. Yeah, that's okay. Oh, you'd rather, as a Tampa fan, you'd rather have the Panthers. Interesting. David says, out of all, I prefer Boston, but that's because I can't stand the Leafs. Seems like every game we play them, our guys get injured, which is why I call them a dirty team. Yeah, that's another reason why I don't want to play Tampa. I was talking with a Canes fan a couple weeks ago, and we talked about the possibility of a Florida, Carolina, Eastern Conference Finals again. And he asked me if I was interested in that. I said, well, I wouldn't mind it. I'll play whoever in the Eastern Conference Finals. But the problem with the Panthers-Canes series is that whoever comes out of that is going to have no body parts left and then get killed by the Western Conference team again, right? Frank says, Vassy owns our booty. Tampa wants to play us. Luis, you say Vassy ain't the same. I mean, he's been playing better, though, right? Yeah, he can still pull some of those games out of his ass. You know what I mean? It's like Tom Brady wasn't the same, but he still won a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? I would just, like I said, let Boston play Tampa. Let them. I want to see that series, to be honest with you. More than anything else, I want to be able to sit and watch and relax and watch that series. Thank you, Dennis. I appreciate that, brother. It is not easy, man. Ellie was 1, 2, 3, 4. She was dog number 6, and Fluffy is 7. And the good thing about Ellie is that she was the first one that we didn't have to call the vet to come to the house to help her out. She saw herself out. She was independent throughout her whole life, and she saw herself out the door. So that was an experience. I'll tell you that for sure. Bucks, you think Duclair wants payback on the Panthers? Interesting. Meadow says every former Florida Panthers goalie is incredible against us. Lyon, Monty. Usually Monty has had problems in the past, but this last game he kept Montreal in it. There's no doubt about that. Wait till Devon Levi becomes a pain in our ass with Buffalo, right? And then wherever we're going to send Spencer Knight. Please, if we're going to move on from Spencer Knight, Western Conference, please. We've already supplied the Atlantic with enough goalies, right? Hey, Christian, how you doing, bud? Let's see. What was this? John says, forgive me for this fear of Tampa, but I want our division in the overall number 2 seed because that guarantees us home ice against everybody against the Rangers. What about the Canes? So you want to pass the Canes? Where are we? I don't think we can do that. Yeah, no, we're tied with the Canes. Okay. They have a game in hand. All right, John, I like that idea. Yeah, I like what John said. Yeah, that's a good idea. Just get the number 2 seed, and then we have home ice against everybody except for the Rangers. Luis, I'm not going to have that argument with you again. We'll see. I have strong suspicion that we're not going to have that much goaltending salary cap next year. Vincent, what about the Flyers? They got to win a game, right? They got to win a game. I mean, they lost 5 in a row. And, right now, well, let's see. Who did the Flyers play? Did they play head-to-head with any of these teams? They just lost to the Islanders. Played the Sabres, Jackets, Canadians, Rangers, Devils. Last game of the year for the Flyers is Flyers-Capitals. And the Capitals, I believe, they are the team that has the game in hand on the Flyers, and they're only 2 points out. So the Capitals will have a real chance to literally eliminate the Flyers. And then the Isles, did the Isles play the Caps? Let's see. The Isles play the Preds, Rangers, Canadians, Rangers again, and then the Devils, and then the Penguins. Yeah, that's going to be tough. The Islanders' only hope is if the Rangers are done playing and they lay everything down and they just rest guys. That's rough. They got to play the Rangers 2 of their final 6 games. So, and I'm sure the Rangers are going to continue to play hard because I would assume they're going to want that 1 seed over Boston in case they end up with Boston in the final, right? Frank, no, I disagree. Frank. I don't even want us to show up for the game. I know they're going. I don't even want them to show up for the game. I have no interest in busting my ass against the Bruins tomorrow, taking a chance that somebody is going to get injured or any of that. I have no interest in doing that because I don't let them have first place. If we lose tomorrow in regulation, first place is done. Maurice can start sitting guys and keeping them off the ice. To me, it's a done deal. I mean, I have no interest in Boston and Florida going at it, trying to beat the crap out of each other a week before the playoffs start. That it doesn't sound like there's much benefit in it for us. You know what I mean? Because we'd still have to catch them. Probably you say the Rangers don't want to play the Canes. Well, that too. Yeah. They're going to end up playing the Canes. I mean, let's be honest. Rangers Canes is, I'm not going to call it a lock because anything can happen. But if the Rangers or Canes lose their first round playoff series, that's almost a fireable offense. Those series, those should be almost in the bank. You know what I mean? So, all right, everybody, I'm gonna run out of here. I gotta get Kyle to the gym. I gotta go fix up the dog. Appreciate everybody coming out. Vincent says they forgot how to play hard. I feel Maurice going to push them now. I don't know. I mean, you've been hearing what Maurice has been saying, right, Vincent? I mean, he literally said it doesn't matter where we finish. So I have no problem with him not pushing them. Not against Boston. Not against Boston. You know, I just want to be healthy. You know what I mean? So I know, since you say that now, but it was 5-1 tomorrow with 10 minutes left, and then we started scoring, your blood pressure will still rise. Let's put it this way. iDog, I don't know if you watched the recap from last night. What I had said before the game, if we're going to give up 5 goals, then we'll score 6. But what I mean by that is I wouldn't mind a really good game, high-scoring game. Nobody's playing any defense. Nobody's hitting like an all-star game. I wouldn't mind that. I just don't see the benefit in clamping down and risking injury to beat the Bruins tomorrow 2-1. I don't see the benefit in it. That's just me personally, because I'd rather play Toronto than Tampa. It seems silly to bust our ass to play Tampa. That doesn't seem like a smart move on our part. I see no profit in purposefully going out there and getting matched up against Tampa and Vasilevsky. That's it. All right, everybody. Appreciate everybody coming out. Thank you for all the support, all the super chats. I will be back next week. I'm going to start having the members podcast a lot more consistent. So we should be up to 2 or 3 times a week then. And then during the playoffs, I'm going to do the best I can to have one every day. Unfortunately, the schedule's a lot easier now on me with just Fluffy. So the only thing is he can't come up here with me to do the show. He has to remain downstairs. So there's that. All right, everybody. Oh, Nick, I'm sorry, brother. Yeah, it's been an hour. Sorry, brother. All right. Hey, thank you, John. I didn't see that. Thank you, John. Thank you, brother. Just beat Boston like Ottawa 6-0. We'll take it. All right, everybody. Go enjoy the rest of your day. Colin and I will see you tomorrow.